Success. It's the word etched into every vision board, every late-night hustle post, every dream whispered in the dark when no one else is listening. But let me tell you something they won't. Success isn't glamorous. It isn't a straight road paved with gold, lined with cheering fans. No, it's a brutal, lonely climb through the mud, through the silence, through the inner war that most never survive. You want the truth. Then brace yourself, because success doesn't care how badly you want it. It doesn't care about your potential. It only answers to one master. Discipline backed by vision, executed through relentless action. This is the truth about success no one wants to hear, because it shatters illusions. It strips away the fantasy and forces you to stare into the mirror and ask, do I have what it takes to pay the price? And make no mistake, success charges full price up front. No discounts, no payment plans. It doesn't care if you're tired, afraid, or if life hasn't been fair to you. It only cares whether you show up every single day with fire in your soul and steel in your spine. The world will sell you shortcuts. They always do. Get-rich schemes, overnight hacks, fake it until you make it. But the greats, the titans who shaped history, they knew better. Edison failed 10,000 times before he lit the world. Lincoln lost more elections than he won before he led a nation through fire. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Oprah was fired. Ford went bankrupt 5 times. They weren't chasing shortcuts. They were building themselves into weapons, sharpening their minds, their beliefs, until success had no choice but to surrender. And that's what this is about. It's not about the world out there. It's about conquering the battlefield in here. Your mind, your beliefs, your ability to endure discomfort without breaking, your ability to wake up every day with the same hunger, even when the results are invisible, even when you're surrounded by doubt and silence. Because here's the hard truth. You are the only one responsible for your life. Not your parents, not your boss, not society, not the economy. You, the moment you accept, that is the moment you take back your power. But most people will never do that, because it's easier to blame, easier to point the finger than to face the brutal truth. The life you're living right now is the result of the choices you've made. And if you want to change it, then you must first burn the bridge behind you. No more plan B, no more safety nets, no more hoping for luck. You must become the kind of person who wait for opportunity. You forget. In fire, in sweat, in solitude. That's the truth about success. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the one who dips their toe in the water and then retreats when it gets cold. Success is for the one who dives in, knowing the water is icy, knowing the current is vicious, and swims anyway. And that kind of power, it begins with the mind. Because every result in your life starts with a thought. You become what you believe. You create what you consistently focus on. Look around you. Every object in your room, every building, every invention, every empire began as an idea in someone's mind, a whisper, a vision no one else could see. So the question isn't whether success is possible. It's whether you believe it's inevitable for you. And that belief, it must be absolute, ruthless, unshakable. Because there will be storms. There will be voices, inside and out, that try to convince you to stop, to be realistic, to tone it down, to settle. But the dreamers who change the world, they are delusional in the right way. They hold on when everyone else lets go. They see light where others see only shadow. They build when others run. And when the world laughs, they smile. Because they know something the world doesn't success belongs to the one who decides they will not be denied. Not because it's easy, not because they're lucky, but because they've made a choice. And they honor that choice with every fiber of their being. That's what belief looks like. It's not chanting affirmations once and waiting for miracles. It's waking up in the dark before anyone else and putting in work that no one sees for a future only you believe in. And belief, real belief, gives birth to clarity. Because when you truly believe success is yours, you stop chasing everything and you start becoming someone. Clarity isn't just about goals. It's about identity. Who are you becoming? Who must you be to carry the weight of your vision? Because your current identity won't take you there. Your comfort zone won't take you there. The version of you that complains, procrastinates, doubts, that version must die. And from the ashes, a new you must rise, a version forged in fire, fueled by clarity, anchored in purpose. That's the evolution most people avoid. They want success, but they don't want to change. They want greatness, but they cling to habits of mediocrity. But you can't cheat the process. You can't harvest from soil you haven't sown into. You will only rise as high as your habits allow. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind every day? What are you doing with your time? What are you tolerating that's keeping you average? Because success is not a lottery ticket. It's a habit, a pattern, a decision repeated so many times that the universe has no choice but to yield. But clarity without action is still fantasy. So here's the next truth. No one wants to learn if you're not willing to act. With urgency, with obsession, with precision. Then your dreams are just decoration. You can't meditate your way into wealth. You can't visualize your way into mastery. There must be blood in the soil, sweat on the brow, reps in the silence. You must work, not once, not occasionally, but daily. Success is earned in the hours when no one is watching. It's built in the grind, in the repetition, in the boring, unglamorous work that no one wants to do. You want to be great, then fall in love with discipline. Fall in love with routine, with showing up when it's hard, with sacrificing what's easy for what's meaningful. Because success doesn't respond to desire. It responds to discipline. That's what separated Carnegie. That's what made Rockefeller unbreakable. That's what turned Hill from a broke reporter into the architect of a philosophy that still moves mountains today. They weren't just dreamers, they're executors, builders, soldiers of the invisible war, the war within. And that's the war you must win. Because every day you're either feeding your greatness or feeding your excuses. Every choice is a vote for the future you're building. And the truth, no one is coming to save you. You must become the hero of your own story. You must pick up the sword, fight your demons, and write your legend, one decision at a time. No one tells you how painful success really is. They don't talk about the nights where doubt claws at your chest like a beast. The mornings where your body screams for rest, but your purpose whispers, keep going. The moments when the people closest to you look at you like you've lost your mind because your vision is bigger than their fear. But you didn't come here to be understood. You came here to become undeniable. And to do that, you need more than motivation. You need purpose. Purpose is the fire that doesn't go out when the applause stops. Purpose is what wakes you when the alarm fails. It's what moves your feet when your emotions betray you. Purpose is what makes you unbreakable, because it gives meaning to the pain. And if you don't have a purpose, you will quit the second things get hard. You will retreat. You will rationalize mediocrity, decorate it, justify it, and call it balance. But those who are truly great, the ones history remembers, they understood that comfort is the enemy of legacy. You were not born to be comfortable. You were born to rise, to fight, to overcome. There is a seed of greatness buried inside you, but it only grows in pressure, in adversity, in the heat of battle. The soil of destiny is soaked in sweat and sacrifice. So ask yourself, what are you willing to suffer for? Because success is suffering, chosen sacred suffering. And those who run from pain, they run from power. They run from growth. They run from the very trials that are trying to shape them into something eternal. Lincoln didn't become immortal because he had an easy road. He became immortal because he walked through civil war with clarity, conviction, and an unwavering belief in a cause greater than himself. That's the level you must find. You must transcend yourself. You must become the kind of person who is so deeply rooted in purpose that no storm can uproot you. When the winds come, and they will, you must stand, not with arrogance, but with knowing that you are being refined, knowing that the challenge is not a punishment. It's a mirror. It's life asking you, how bad do you really want this? And the only acceptable answer is bad enough to bleed for it. Because the truth about success no one wants to hear is this: you must die to be reborn. Not a physical death, but an emotional one. The death of your old identity. The death of your laziness, your excuses, your small thinking, your fear of judgment, all of it. Burn to ash. Only then can the real you rise. The you that was born to dominate, to lead, to create, to inspire. But you won't meet that version of yourself in comfort. You'll meet them in sacrifice, in the discipline of early mornings, in the silence of solitude, in the repeated ruthless decision to act even when you don't feel like it. That's what separates those who have from those who wish. Feelings are temporary. Results are eternal. And the ones who make it, they've learned to act regardless of how they feel. They've rewired their mind to see discomfort not as an enemy, but as the doorway. Because it is. Discomfort is the divine gatekeeper. If you can walk through it, you earn access to a version of life most will never taste. A life of power, of contribution, of creation. A life where you control your fate, because you took the time to build the strength to carry it. And once you begin to live like this, something shifts. You stop chasing pleasure. You stop needing validation. You become still, calm, dangerous. You develop what the greats had: poise under pressure. When chaos strikes, you don't flinch, because you've lived there. You've bled in that arena, and you've learned how to stay composed, how to see opportunity in crisis, how to build when others break. That's what makes you unstoppable, because adaptability is the trait of titans. Ford didn't just invent the assembly line. He reinvented the way an entire industry worked. Jobs didn't just make technology prettier. He made it part of who we are. The greats evolve constantly. They don't wait for the world to change. They change with such intensity that the world is forced to follow. And if you want to lead, to truly lead, you must become a student of change. You must fall in love with learning. Not surface-level knowledge, not scrolling through inspiration, but deep mastery, because mastery is magnetic. People feel it. They are drawn to those who own their craft, who speak with certainty, not because they're arrogant, but because they put in the hours. And this is the quiet truth, and real confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from competence, from knowing that you've earned your edge, that you've studied when others slept, that you've practiced when others played, that you've built your foundation so strong, not even an earthquake can shake it. And here's the irony. The more you master, the more you realize how much you don't know. And that's where humility is born. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are also the most humble. Not because they think less of themselves, but because they think more about service, about impact, about legacy. Because at some point, the pursuit of success becomes bigger than you. It becomes about the people you lift, the minds you awaken, the lives you change. But you cannot give what you have not earned. You cannot teach what you haven't lived. That's why your journey matters. Because every hardship you endure, every lesson you internalize, every battle you win becomes a gift you can give to the world. That's the ultimate form of success. Not just to rise, but to lift. Not just to win, but to empower. And that power is your responsibility, your duty. Because the world doesn't need more passive spectators. It needs warriors, architects, leaders who are bold enough to break patterns and build futures. And that leader, that architect, is in you. Not in the version of you that plays small, but in the version of you that is forged in fire, tested in discipline, and defined by vision. So take a breath, look in the mirror, and understand that everything you need is already within you. The only thing left is to rise. So rise. Rise. Not with noise, but with conviction. Not with desperation, but with certainty. The world has heard enough talking. What it needs now are doers, builders of dreams, executors of vision, men and women who don't need applause because their mission is too loud to hear the noise. Success isn't waiting for permission. It's waiting for your decision. And here's the final truth. The clock is ticking, not in some motivational, hype-driven sense. No. In the realist, rawest sense, your time here is finite. The seconds you waste will never return. And most people, they live as if they have forever, as if they can press pause on destiny. But destiny doesn't wait. Death is the great equalizer. It doesn't care how busy you are, how scared you are, how close you are. One day it will knock, and the only thing you'll leave behind is the impact you had and the lives you touched. So what will your legacy be? Will it be a list of excuses, of things you could have done if only life was fair? Or will it be a story so bold, so undeniable, that generations from now, someone speaks your name? Not because of what you owned, but because of who you became. That's the real measure of success. Who did you become in the pursuit? Because titles fade, trophies rust, but character, that echoes. And this world is starving for people of character, people who stand when it's easier to sit, Who speak when silence is safe? Who build when others wait? And the path to that kind of life, to that kind of power, begins now, not tomorrow, not when the timing is right. Now, you already know what needs to be done. The gap is not in your knowledge. The gap is in your execution. So start. Start with the smallest action that moves you forward. Start with the decision to no longer be ruled by fear. Start with the discipline to show up even when you feel like shrinking, because courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means you do it anyway. Success bows to courage, to commitment, not to consistency, not to talent, to charm, not to luck. So forget luck. Build your own. Forget fear. Use it as fuel. Forget waiting. Become the storm. Do not waste another moment living beneath your potential. You are not here to blend in. You are here to take dominion. To rise like fire through concrete. To defy odds, redefine limits, and rewire everything you were told was impossible. Because impossible is a lie whispered by cowards and believed by the uninspired. But you're different. You're hearing this because something in you refuses to die. Something in you knows there is more, that you are more. So honor that voice. It is ancient. It is sacred. It is your soul reminding you you were born for greatness, not average, not mediocrity, not regret, but greatness. And greatness isn't found in comfort. It's not born in applause. It is carved in the shadows when no one sees, when no one cares, when you fight alone. And rise anyway. So rise. Even if your knees shake, even if your hands tremble, even if your past screams that you're not ready. Rise anyway, because your past is not your prison. It is your proof that you've survived, that you're still standing, that nothing has broken you, and nothing will. Let the world throw what it will. You were built for this. Because deep down, you know the truth. You're not chasing success, you're becoming it. Not through words, but through work. Not through dreaming, but through doing. Not someday, but this day. Let the masses wait. Let them hope, let them scroll and wish. But you move, you build, you endure. You rise, you are the exception. You are the fire they said would burn out. But you only burn brighter. You are the storm they thought would pass. But you became the sky itself. And when they ask years from now, how did you do it? You will not speak of chance or luck or magic. You will say, I refuse to quit. I refuse to break. I refuse to live a life that was less than what I knew I was born for. And that will be enough. Because the truth about success, the real truth, is that it's not something you achieve, it's something you become. So become it. Not tomorrow, not when it's easy. Now, this is your moment. This is your fire. This is your truth.